Hey everybody, what is your favorite movie soundtrack? Is it from your favorite movie? Or is it just from a movie that you like a lot? Or there are times when a movie soundtrack is actually better than the movie itself? And can you name any of those? Um, Even in the silent movie era, they had soundtrack, well, not really soundtracks, but music in the movies, mainly scores. Nosferatu, my DVD of Nosferatu, which is a 1922, um, silent film, is pretty much Dracula, but it's Nosferatu. It's just, Bram Stoker's widow wouldn't permit them to use the term or the word Dracula, call it Dracula. But on my DVD, I have an option of either having like an orchestra, I think, play the music, or an organ or organ music. I always do the organ music because it just makes it seem a bit scarier for that film. But anyway, yeah, there a lot of silent films have music. Some of them don't. I did watch one that didn't have any music, any sound whatsoever. That is a pure silent film. But it was the silent film I stayed awake for more than any other silent film, though. I mean, hello, had Buster Keaton in it. That dude was a genius. He was so hilarious. The General, that's what it was called. If you haven't seen The General, oh my gosh, y'all gotta see The General. It's like one of the best silent films ever. Comedy wise. Anyway, so I told you I was going to give you my favorite movie soundtracks. Not in any particular order. And I also even have a little statistics for you. I have the 5 best-selling movie soundtracks, which I believe I own 4 of the 5. The one that I don't own, it's not like I don't want it. I wouldn't mind having it. I just don't have it. But anyway, so shall we get to it? From 1988. I like this movie a lot. Saw it in the theater, actually, down the street when it came out. 1988. Tom Cruise, Elizabeth Shue, Cocktail. It's got Beach Boys, Kokomo in it. Then Don't Worry, Be Happy song. And some other, these soundtracks, I think all these that I'm listing, I own, whether it be on audio cassette, record, or CD. I own them all, some form of way. So Cocktail, that's one of them. Aladdin, 1992, Aladdin. Robin Williams did his own little voice work there, singing. So yeah, and also A Whole New World ended up being kind of like my class song when I graduated from high school. So Aladdin, 1992. Another one that I like. Most of my soundtracks that I like are from either the 70s or 80s. But I do have 2 from the 90s, it looks like. And then this one is actually the most recent. This is the newest one. And it's from the year 2000. So nothing in the past 22 years is on my list. This right here is like the newest, most recent one from the year 2000. Coyote Ugly. LeAnn Rimes and some other songs are in it. I just really like the soundtrack. That's one of those movies where the soundtrack is a little bit better than the movie. The movie's great, but I think the soundtrack kind of edges over the movie just a tad. So, at least to me. Good movie, soundtrack's a little bit better. So, just a little bit. Just a tad bit. So, anyway, if that shakes my cat, because anyway, 1984. This is pretty much one song type soundtrack. Some movies only have one song that you really like, so you even go buy it just for that one song. This one is mainly for one song, but there actually are other songs that I do like in the movie. I believe Ivory Tower is another one. But The Never Ending Story. That's the song right there, The Never Ending Story. But also check out The Ivory Tower. That's a good one. I listened to those two. Those are like the top two songs I listened to on that soundtrack. So from 1984, The Never Ending Story is one of my favorites. From 1987, a Sylvester Stallone movie, Over the Top. It's got Kenny Loggins, Sammy Hagar, Kenny Loggins, Sammy Hagar. If you have movies, especially in the 80s, and it has Kenny Loggins, you're doing very well, because he's pretty much was the soundtrack king, I will say, of the 80s. Did a lot of movie soundtracks in the 80s. So, but Over the Top, Arm Wrestle movie, not bad. 1997, Val Kilmer, Elizabeth Shue. There's a second Elizabeth Shue movie right there called The Saint. I love the Duran Duran song that plays at the very end of the film. And there's a song by Moby. I think it's about the only song of theirs I like. But I have the soundtrack on the CD. So, love the movie. And love the sound. And the soundtrack, I listen to some songs I kind of, forward. Just only listen to certain songs. Like a lot of people do. But right there, The Saint from 1997. Not the original. I haven't seen that one because I believe that was a remake. Another. Here's a lot of my years are in the sevens. So anyway, from 1977, John Williams, George Lucas directed, starring Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Star Wars. That is mainly a score movie. There's not really songs, but it's scores, and I do like scores a lot, film scores. And there are some, movies I like the songs more than the scores. So, but Star Wars, purely scores. The next one, 1977. John Travolta. Saturday Night Fever. Gotta love the Bee Gees, or you're not going to like that movie soundtrack. And you're not going to like the movie because they play a lot of Bee Gees songs in the movie. So, it's Bee Gees. Just covered up with Bee Gees right there on that soundtrack. So, 1997. Actually, that's three I have in the 90s. James Horner did a lot. There's actually two soundtracks for this one. James Horner did the music, but then a very popular song from the movie in 97, sung by Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On, from the movie Titanic. So I have both soundtracks. I have like the official one, and then they have kind of like Back to the Titanic, which is almost purely, which I think is purely just James Horner film scores. Because there's just long movie, so it's got to have an extra long, have like a second soundtrack. So there we go. Well, how about if, here we go, 1978. Another John Travolta movie, but this time also starring the late, I hate saying that word with this one, Olivia Newton-John. Grease. Grease. I love the song Grease. I know it was written by the Bee Gees, especially Barry. I know it was by Barry Gibb. But the Bee Gees wrote it, and they even sing it as well. But it's mainly sung, I believe, by Frankie Avalon. Am I right on that one? If I'm not, I'm sorry. I'll correct myself, maybe. But whoever sang it for the movie. Anyway, I hear that song play on the radio, and I'm like, dude, I'm singing along, I'm dancing. I like the upbeat. I like the song. Anyway, 1987. Once again, the the late Patrick Swayze, Jennifer Grey, Dirty Dancing. Yeah. Dirty Dancing. You do that last dance. I've had the time of my life. That's a good one. And of course, they had some older ones since the movie took place in the '60s, so they have kind of '60s related songs. So, ta-da, good soundtrack. I have to. Well, anyway, let me finish my list here. '84, once again. Kenny Loggins. Footloose. And Footloose, the Footloose title song. In the remake, it was Blake Shelton. In '84, Kenny Loggins. Other songs on that soundtrack, Bonnie Tyler, Denise Williams. It's just the smart thing that they did. This one thing I have to say, I think the smartest thing that, I don't know if it was the promoters of the movie, but what the studio did for this film, they put out the soundtrack for the movie before they released the film. So when the movie came out and people went to go see the movie, they were literally just singing and dancing in their seats, or at least singing along with the movie, because the soundtrack was out before the movie, so they were able to learn the songs before the movie came out. So that's probably may have made that movie a little bit more successful than it could have been. Not that it probably wouldn't have been in the first place, but that could have helped its success to me. Because when I learned that, I was like, that's a smart move, putting the soundtrack out before the movie. So that, I think that worked to their benefit. Oh, look again. Again, Kenny Loggins. As I said, he was the soundtrack king of the 80s. Top Gun. Did the Top Gun song. Danger Zone. Oh, goodness. Miami Sound Machine. Of course, later would be known as Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine. Did a song on that cover, as well as Berlin, which won an Oscar. And then they broke up. Like, you just had a hit song and you're going to break up? Whatever. Okay. So, yeah. Anyway, whatever. So, Top Gun. Oh, these are probably my top two soundtracks if I had to say. I mean, I'm not listening to them in any order. I like all these equally. I will go listen to any of these. But these are probably my top two. If I had to, life and death situation, I would probably choose one of these two. 1985. This one has all-star cast. Let's see if you guys can name it as I list the actors who are in it. Rob Lowe, Demi Moore, Ali Sheedy, Judd Nelson, Emilio Estevez, Andrew McCarthy, Mare Winningham. I believe that's all. Boogie woogie, I think that's what they do in the movie. Anyway, St. Elmo's Fire. James Parr did the St. Elmo's Fire. In the video, the official video, if you watch it, it has the actors from the movie. I believe all of them actually did take part in the video, so they're in the video. I like that song. And there's some other songs throughout the movie that I like. It's just one of those soundtracks I just really like all the songs of. So, but definitely the St. Elmo's Fire theme song, which is also mainly was composed by David Foster. So, when he does his little concerts with his little piano playing, he plays his instrumental version of the theme song to, or at least the love theme to St. Elmo's Fire. And then another one, this should be, I had 15, I think, movies. This one is another 1985 movie. Let's see if you can guess which movie this is. Molly Ringwald, Emilio Estevez, Anthony Michael Hall, Judd Nelson, Ali Sheedy, The Breakfast Club. Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me is probably my favorite song of all time. I love that song, at least one of my favorite songs. So, that's probably, if I had to say, it's not my favorite soundtrack, but that is definitely one of my favorite songs. There's, when I listen to the soundtrack, I kind of do skip a few songs, but I listen to most of it anyway. Or let the songs I don't like too much just play on, and then I'll eventually get to the songs I do like, but sometimes I do skip. So, those are my soundtracks. We have Cocktail, Aladdin, Coyote Ugly, Never Ending Story, Over the Top, The Saint, Star Wars, as in the 1977, Saturday Night Fever, Titanic, Grease, Dirty Dancing, Footloose, Top Gun, St. Elmo's Fire, and The Breakfast Club. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Whatever. So, some honorable mentions I would like to mention, though, or obviously honorable mentions, I would like to say would be a soundtrack I own and I really do like is actually a movie I want to see tomorrow on the big screen, and it came out in 1987, The Lost Boys. Lost Boys has a very good soundtrack. Joel Schumacher did a great job choosing the music for that movie, and that's one of the reasons why he got his job, or the directing job, for the Gerard Butler movie, Phantom of the Opera. If it wasn't for his music selection, I don't think he would have gotten that job as director for that movie, for Phantom of the Opera. But yes, that would definitely be on my list. That one I can easily replace with ones I have listed. So, there's a soundtrack I would love to have, but it is out of print. I own the movie, and the only way I can actually listen to the songs without watching the movie is on YouTube. And I do that quite often. It's like, I want to listen to the music from this movie, but I have to go on YouTube. And that is the 1989 movie Sing. It's got Peter Dobson, Jessica Steen, Lorraine Bracco, and even a future Oscar winner in that movie, Cuba Gooding Jr. So the 1989 Sing has a great soundtrack. I really do like the soundtrack. Definitely 80s. You listen to it, you say, yeah, this is definitely 80s feel. Because 89. So that's the one I wish I tried to order once, and they said it was out of print. I'm like, dang it. So I really like that soundtrack. So you can watch the movie on YouTube as well, like in 15 parts. But I own the movie on VHS and was able to transfer it to on DVD, so I have it on DVD. So here about a little bit, some official numbers, listing of movie soundtracks. The 5 best-selling movie soundtracks. So at number 5, 1978's Grease. Sold 28 million copies. 28 million copies. Number 4. 1997's Titanic. Selling 30 million. Only beat Grease by 2 million copies. Number 3. Dirty Dancing. With 32 million copies sold. 2. And this one right here, for 15 years, was the highest or the best-selling soundtrack of all time. For 15 years. 1977's Saturday Night Fever. 15 years, it was the best-selling soundtrack. and it sold 40 million copies. And then, so if you do the math, 15 years, 1992, a movie came out in November, because I worked at the theater then, and I actually saw the very ending of the movie before I saw the rest of the film. I knew how I ended before it started. Anyway, selling 45 million copies. Kevin Costner, Whitney Houston, The Bodyguard. Are we even surprised with that? I'm not. I mean, hello, Whitney. Incredible voice. Duh. I thought if any movie would top her, probably would have been Titanic. But hey, Titanic's still in the top 5. So, yeah. So, you have The Bodyguard at number 1. Saturday Night Fever, Dirty Dancing, Titanic, and Grease. Top 5 best-selling movie soundtracks. And that's what I just got the other night. So, and that's from 92. So no other movie soundtrack in the past, 30 years has beaten Whitney, pretty much. So let's see how long she can hold this record right here, okay? Because she beat the Bee Gees. Let's see who's going to beat her in the future. What's going to be the next highest best-selling movie soundtrack? Or now it's probably the most downloaded the most downloaded soundtrack. So I didn't go that far. These are actually those who actually bought. I guess I could have did the downloading. That's what I need to start doing, I guess. It's more common than actually going out buying CDs. But see, my thing is, what if something happens to your memory? Or or your cloud gets too full and you don't know what all your songs you have on there and stuff. So I'm like, so if that happens, then you lose your songs. Then you wasted some money buying them and you don't have them, but yet you always will have your CDs unless you get rid of them. So I always try to keep a CD player around, because I have plenty of CDs. I like to listen to CDs. I do believe that vinyl, though, records, I think they sound the best. A few years ago, I got a certain book at a store for like this. I got this thick book for like, I think under $1. And let me see, and it's normally $24.95, and I got it for under $1. But right here, it's Music Hound soundtracks right here. And the Essential Album Guide. And what they do is they rate them by bones. Okay, like 5 bones is like the best soundtrack. And if they get a wolf, obviously, it's a horrible soundtrack. And looking up in some of the soundtracks in this movie, they don't have all of them, and they actually don't have like the Breakfast Club, but yet they do have Titanic and like Beauty and the Beast, which has a great soundtrack, and that should also be mentioned as my honorable mentions, and I'm talking about the 91 animation, Disney animation, Beauty and the Beast, great movie. Anyway, great soundtrack, but yeah, some of the ones that you think have a great soundtrack, you personally would rate it high. Not them. I was surprised on some of the ratings of this book. I'm like, what? It's better than this. Hello? You have to like, hound, woof woof. Come on now. It's not a woof woof. Give us some bones. And they even have little half bones. You kind of see a little break in the bone when it's like 3.5, 2.5. 1.5 or a half. But yeah, this is kind of a cool book. Just looking through it, But anyway, I guess they would think some of the musicals may have good soundtracks. I don't know, I kind of just look up some musicals like Oklahoma, which I just kind of flipped through, and I saw Oklahoma. Never saw the movie. I don't know any of the music, so I don't know. But I didn't even look at the at the bones what it was rated, but let's say it has the you think or it was highly rated back in the day, they would probably give it not as high as rating. I don't know. It's just you get what I'm saying. So, but anyway, so that's movie soundtracks. My favorite, and I gave you a little bit of the best selling. I do agree with the best selling. I think those are probably the best sellers. Obviously, with my listing and that 5 best selling list, you know I do not own The Bodyguard. I don't think I do. No, I don't. So it's not that I don't want it. It's just I don't have it. It's nothing that I'm just dying to go get. I don't even own the movie. I don't think. Saw it though. Saw it a few times. Working in the theater, you know, you go in there on break, so you know I've seen the movie plenty of times. So yeah, but you can't beat Whitney. So far, 30 years. As I said, 30 years. 92, here's 2022. That's 30 right there. I did do the math right? 02, 12, 22. Yeah, that's 30. So, yeah. She doubled the distance that the Bee Gees did already. So, but hey, those are good soundtracks. Saturday Night Fever. I don't think I own the soundtrack, but if you own the best of Bee Gees, you own the soundtrack. That's pretty. I mean, say music. But anyway, that's it. That's the movie soundtracks. Let's see, anything else I could say? I know I mentioned once before there sometimes some music or some songs, mainly songs, that they use in movies, they don't go. And one that totally stood out for me was from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I know I mentioned this before in another film, but yeah, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. That one, the music was fine. It kind of goes. If you can just watch it and not really pay attention to the music, and if the song just all of a sudden like, wait a minute, what? This does not make any sense. That was me for that song in that movie. I don't know why it was in that movie. I still don't understand. I need someone to explain that one to me, because I just don't get it. Good movie. That song needed to go. I would have cut that song and that part out. No offense to that bike riding, oh, how sweet me moment, but get on with the storyline. This is not about like a love story. It's like, hello, weren't they like outlaws? Get with the outlawing. So anyway, hey, until next time, take care, be careful, have fun, be safe, whatever, all the above. Cats are about to misbehave anyway, so I gotta go. So, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you like me. If not, then fine. Oh well, thanks for giving me a chance. Bye, guys.